the authentic self. For those of us who embody our humanness, our spirituality, our lovely 5D mysticism, and yes, lo and behold, enlightenment, come on over to IHP for more of that. What it is the securely attached person with their self. So the self of you is I'm attachment trauma informed. So that's helped me to be able to define even more what being yourself is. And I begin the journey of inner growth with being yourself from the psychological, sociological, and existential perspectives, and using inner growth exercises and topics of the day to work with that, the mind, your left and right. And now I can also support those emotional aspects thanks to my more at this 2 or 3 or more, I'm losing track, but of time. And these beautiful courses, and I still have so many more to do. So I'm also Reiki master, and I'm a Akashic record reader, a holistic practitioner is what I want to say. And I don't like to use all these words because right now what we're doing is voices, stories, and more, but perspectives. But it is for people who want to do personal development and self-help. So giving you a little bit of an intro here. And also FYI, for my lovely polyamory community, I'm a solo poly. Come on over if you're interested in embodying your secure attachment self, because that enables you to enjoy your relationships with compersion. Okay, so no envy, no jealousy, no spite. Why? The authentic self is all of those child parts of you, with you having the sixth sense, introception. So you always know what's going on in your body, plus those 5 senses, plus your interconnectedness. And these are the planes of integration, or bodies of integration, or something of integration that I learned from Daniel Siegel. And he is the lovely person who's made me aware of how to talk about when you don't have narrative integration of what comes up, that's going to leave you with consistent charges that have not been made sense by you. So you cannot be your authentic self without embodying all of you. And that 0-1-year-old counts, the 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old. Okay, so the first 8 years of your life, that unconscious stuff counts. People don't understand when they're talking to mantles of mental health, mantles of yoga, mantles of spirituality, because they don't give them the in-depth, okay, you're 0-1-year-old. If you're not securely attached, step 1, you're going to want to get back to that. Okay, so let me read to you a couple quotes. Peter Levine, PhD, and actually I'm going to drink some water first. When we can feel our body as a container, then the emotions and the sensations do not feel as overwhelming. They are being contained. So as a person who has had numerous panic attacks, as my light body expanded to my rainbow body and beyond, for 5D mystics, come on over, spirituality awakening, kundalini awakening again. It's you moving into the authentic version of your whole self as a human. Humanness, I chose that word because people, yes, we do the humanity thing, but some people don't actually embrace doing emotions. So emotional awareness, accountability, self-regulation involves the sensations. Your embodied brain, it's a nervous system's always coming up. Yoga don't bring demons, but it's a ventral vagal portfolio of nervous system toning exercises. Thank you, Stephen Porges. Okay, so what you also note is that those who don't move into the authentic self, they're going to have something along the lines of Ruth Lanius, MD, PhD. The pain is inside, but it's too scary to show that pain and too shameful to show that pain. So frequently, traumatized individuals walk around with masks or a mask. Now, we also have, though, Patrick Teahan, childhood trauma survivor, healed, healing, and therapist at this point, and he shares, hurt people, this meme, and he says, hurt people, scratching that one out and saying, should do their work. And in his sentence, he says, plenty of hurt people do not hurt other people. And there has never been more resources and information about changing abusive behavior. Abusive behavior, we can do that / maladaptive child behavior, which includes personality disorders. Dr. Daniel Fox, expert, he shares how all people can work with their mindset. We also have the fact that there's adaptive child behavior. It's also abusive. We got Terry Real for couples, unfinished business. The adaptive child behavior, do you know what an adaptive child does? I've met plenty of. You've heard the stories. I tell it to you in a whole different way because that's where I like to share. And sometimes I like to try and make clear topics that are like this, the authentic self, because I find it hard to believe, Maria, that there's dissociative identity disorder. Okay. Not going to say anything to that one because I got a Cusco in town. It's called the 16-year-old who just told me, thinking as if, what, I made shit up for my ass? Or are you questioning the people who are doing the research? Because I'm pseudoscience lady, which is why I'm dumb, and I'm a mystic, which is why I'm woo-woo. But the minute you present to me something and I've been going to class, I'm just going to leave it. Why? Because you just showed me what a self-bridled expression adaptive child does, which is your left mode just spoke out a term meaning, I'm not more curious. I'm going to challenge you because I don't believe in it. Wow. So I'm just saying, to me, the minute you say the word believe is the minute that I know you're on the left mode one and you haven't even noticed that you're coming into a conversation with a challenge on basically what is information that I've been consistently not only consuming but learning about because I support people with personal development, self-help. I mean, this is I learned as a teenager, my lovely teenage boyfriend. See, we always remember the things we learn, those of us who expand consciousness consistently, when we don't have interruption from our inner child. Thanks, mom and twin. So I'm not afraid of being inadequate. My teenage boyfriend knew, take me as I am. I'm not jealous. And you cheated. I'm not going to check in on you. That's ridiculous. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it again. One. And he did. And I wasn't like, oh, let me count the numbers of time. No, we talked about it. So when you're a person who trusts, it's because, like the sentence that I love, I did this lovely lab, this workshop. I told you about it in a couple of our episodes today. So I got to play with words. And actually, you know what? Let me read to you what I got to share on our Instagram because I do enjoy how I decided to share it. It'll make more sense for my personal development self-help people. So I say, thank you, and I name the people that organized it. Thank you, organization, for this immersive experience of bringing the unconscious, because they had us breathe with the belly, and I knew all about it since I've done my somatic courses and all of those. The unconscious to the conscious through the art of pages with words chosen and to let go of. I screwed that one up, but I'm not going to fix it. Art designed to express the flow of words that wanted to come forth, and a collective work of art with the essence of heart, love, and humankind brought together by your beautiful workshop idea. So I said, how wonderful for me to share what came up as I joined this beautiful bunch of people on this evening. And I mentioned the location. It's a really nice place. It's Cheers, where everybody knows our name. Yeah, so we all know each other, but some of us, right, we don't want to be friends with you. So we may see you, but we will never we won't want to know your name, but we'll probably find out your name and we'll, interact every now and then to be decent to each other, right? So you all know that story too. Okay, here's what I got to create with my page. So I got a page, I got to pick words and then let go. So I wrote circumstances in the night, Mary laughing and handsome. And that means not a man, not a woman, handsome as in handsome, gorgeous. Okay, so circumstances in the night, Mary, laughing and handsome. So they marry each other, right? And that's laughter and beauty, to translate it a little bit. And mirror, an invasion of the reflection of trust. So they mirror, they bring back to us the reflection, right, of trust. What is trust? So for an authentic self, it's expanding consciousness. It's not you tell me everything. It's that you and I are going to expand together. And I'm going to use Daniel Siegel because, see, I like how he explains what an integrated brain is because that's where trust is. And that's how Sadhguru translated. He just doesn't know the psych education. So integration of the brain is what a person who has their prefrontal cortex on, and that's the authentic self. So when you're able to be yourself like this, its default mode network is downregulated. The left, which is our verbal part, and the right, which is where we get all of the feelings that come from our body, up. If you contain them, so I know when my nervous system is getting agitated and I know how to breathe, and those panic attacks, they gave me plenty of practice to just sit there and be curious. Okay? And so also, as Daniel presents, we will pick up on each other, and any other good therapist, they'll let you know we're nervous systems. So we are vibing always. And since we're mammals, we're going to vibe with each other. I'm aware, though, self-aware of my emotions, my thoughts, and then I'm all knowledgeable about all these things too. And so we're all somatic empaths, but some of us can be aware of it, and then because we love being around people, all the time, not just sometimes, just having a good time. Okay, so on that note, left and right, they come together. The default mode network for me is downregulated. I'm not scanning self, Maria, which would be, let's go to those personalities from that rabbi. I'm not scanning Abraham, no, Isaac internally. I'm not scanning, meaning I have awareness of my body and all that's coming up, and I know my personality and who I am. Then I'm not scanning other Abraham, but I am picking up on Abraham, and these are the personality types, but I'm picking up on it as a Jacob because I'm in my prefrontal cortex. So my body, as Stephen Porges would describe, is in green. I'm in my social engagement system because Maria is cool with being Maria. I don't have a mask on, and if I'm getting agitated and you point it out, I'll be like, yeah. And if I don't want to say it, I'm not going to tell you. No. But I'm fine with speaking, and I will ask people, and I will hear when they're telling me things because I know my body's moving. So as a self-aware person and wanting to learn more about when I'm bringing up bodily movements that I know partake to my 44 years of life and those first 16 years and those first 8. So we have memory. The first 3 are implicit. Mine are gooey, ooey, ooey. I went back to my happiest childhood memory, and it's my 3 years of age, and then I got to gradually move to my 4 or 5 years of age, and then I moved to my 6 and 7 and 8 years of age, and that's when I stopped, and that's when I got disowned by my twin, and that's when I went to talk to Jesus and God in my hypnotherapy session, and the answer of why did this come up in my happiest childhood memory was that every person plays the game of life differently. And when you understand that we are all a self that is not only interconnected with our nervous systems, but you come with a story. Your first year of life wants secure attachment. Mine had it. My second year of life, like yours, your left mode comes up. Words start to come up. It doesn't restrict a free soul because my mom gave me a child-centric environment, and I have a twin. So I'm not afraid of inadequacy because I got another mammal. And so my human memories, like, yeah, I know my ancestors were afraid to be left alone with lions, bears, and bears and tigers, but I'm not ever going to be alone because I got a twin. I got a mini person next to me. And this is how the good therapist will explain things. And some people say, I find it hard to believe goodness doesn't exist. There's a demon and a devil and an evil and all this. Okay, look, we're not going to tell anybody what to believe in. What I'm going to say is Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist, fear receptor, brain, Daniel Siegel, and all these other people, they talk to me and they inform us of dissociation, dissociative disorders. They're not just random. It's not the dissociation of I'm driving down a highway. This is Daniel Siegel's example. Oh, I think of my trip to Hawaii. How wonderful. Oh, I skipped my exit. No, we're talking out of body experience, offline. People will know this about themselves when they have an emotional body that's disconnected and numbness. It's 2024. Like our lovely Patrick Tiahan points out, there's plenty of free information online that can help anyone who wants to get out of the business of hurting inside. And so when you notice, whether it's adaptive, maladaptive, or you want to use the word abusive, it's you noticing it with compassion and understanding because you want to, though, build with other. And so it's going to be when you have enough room to say, I want to live a life that is meaningful, and my life that is meaningful means to be with others. However, not to do the crutch. So the people who are love dependent, the love avoidance, unfortunately, they leave. They hide out or they get grandiose, and they're, those ones we can work with every person, but they have to become aware and wanting to become a person that engages with their left and their right. So the bilateral integration is the part. If you can contain it, that's a good thing because you're going to be like, I'm aware. Not, no way, that doesn't happen, which is deflection. Deflection means you're not wanting to take your emotional stuff and do anything with it. So when you meet deflection, what you're going to meet is low self-esteem, passive-aggressive people who wear masks, and they're all called Cuscos. And I've met plenty of them. And as a Jacob and as a Pacha, I don't do anything. You choose the right silence with people who don't want to grow up. They actually are a mirror of basically the trust I was saying. I'm present. I'm in my prefrontal cortex. I'm curious. I'm not going to be thinking what you're doing. I'm not going to try and read you. I'm not going to say, you know what, she's a bitch. She was looking at me weird. I may think, this is interesting. This thing that happened over here, over here, over here. This looks like a synchronicity. It looks like it's a message. And as a 5D mystic, what I can tell you is, yeah, maybe, maybe not. Because I'm in the enlightenment soul age group and I have self-confidence. And it means that the sky above me doesn't inform me of the truth. My emotions and my thoughts are not irrefutable facts. Let me go and read our lovely lady. To see that's a 4D mantles of mental health, mantles of spirituality, the mantles of mysticism for a 5D mystic. They go and do things like this. Let's see. Powerful emotions, even without just having a download, they'll be like, irrefutable fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. I saw it. I know it for a fact. Well, okay, you're one mystic out of many. I'm pretty sure that you forgot about the infinite plane of possibilities and how we get to decide together as a collective. And your thoughts to me as a human lover with my humanness, my enlightenment soul age group, and my spirituality, higher human conscious potential experience. You're not protecting the future with what you just spoke out of your mouth. So yeah, I don't like what you're manifesting. And I'm a mystic too. I'm just not going to tell you that. I'm pretty sure those frontal lobes are down and your amygdala is up. And alert, alert, you didn't learn how to harness your prefrontal to get your limbic system, the waves, remember as a teenager? Yeah. So your emotions you feel, and they're that irrefutable fact. Effective realism. So when I started to have clairs and I started to astral travel and dream, and I got my oversoul, my entire oversoul, beautiful oversoul. It started with Twin Flame 1, then I got Twin Flame 2, and I got Twin Flame 3, and then I got Soulmates, and then now I got a bunch of fun stories. And out of Soulmates, teenage boyfriend, Soulmate 2, and a bunch of friends, a bunch of people. So this is a relational field. I love learning from Daniel Siegel because he tells me how he connects to it and a lot of other somatic empaths. So physicists look into the quantum field. You know what it is? It's called they call it the hard problem of consciousness. I have fun with it. So do people who love being a mystic in the 5D plane. The ones who are 4D, they keep talking about, because we got eruptions of volcanoes, some demon coming out, or some are like, the Luciferian era, because you're not conducting yourselves like our middle-aged, grandparents or something like that. It's hilarious how, like, polyamory, how dare they be unfaithful? It's called consensual non-monogamy, people. That one really got me. And as for tarot, that talks about sex and using sex to do what? What is it? To, get rid of trauma. No. I'm going to talk about that in another episode, not here, because that one's just so not in the room right now. Let me go back to the other story. Which story was I going to tell you about? I don't remember, because now I'm just thinking about how many lame excuses Hangover movie is, when people do fucking, drinking, drugging, and then they have an inner critic and an outer critic. Oh, yes, there's that. And now I remember where I was going. So, irrefutable facts because I see something. Yeah, that's very egoic, I'm going to say. And they forget that they manifest too. And they forget that not everything you see is going to be true. And here's where you will figure out that we're all part of this relational field. And when you're tapping into the field, you will pick up on the lovely earth. I remember when I expanded from picking up on the lovely earth to farther, but you can't prove any of that, but I know what I saw in my mind's eye. So anyways, let's get back to personal development and authentic self stuff. What I was trying to get to is that we don't trick ourselves to think that if I think that person doesn't like me, I can share it, right? I share it. I'm not convinced of it. I'm not going to think I'm losing trust in anyone. Back to Daniel Siegel. My present brain is in the prefrontal cortex with my compassion on because I'm confident to be Maria. So my heart is open. So if somebody notices a body move, whatever it is, I'm going to be able to say yes if I want to. If I don't, I'm going to say no because I don't want to. If they say you're a liar, I'm going to say yes, I don't want to tell you. This is how it works, as you will not choose to lie, but you will choose to disengage. And so if somebody doesn't want to accept it, here's where when they care about you, this happens very differently. So I have a lovely human being, a lot of lovely human beings, but I'm thinking about this one situation, this person, he's very much a person who can pick up on people around them. And it was right after I had this pure fear moment, which is very different than panic attacks. This was just pure fear. I was just so much like, wow, I made it to the airport. I made it on the plane. I made it to home. And I'm like, so I knew my biochemistry was going to need to, because that's how my body works. Whatever it is, I just know that it has a needing to release it and it takes a certain amount of time. So it was either the day after 2 days, but I was still very much recalibrating is the word I use. My energy body, my nervous system, my entire body was needing to reassess. Plus, when you travel, your body, and this was told to me by doctors, also goes through a needing to readjust because our bodies, they have memory. They want to be on the ground. So whenever anyone deflects and denies, yeah, that's bullshit. You're bullshit. You are forgetting years and years of memory, which is implicit in chart, and you're using words of bullshit because you're not the expert of the body. And anybody who is will say and inform you of certain things. Okay, so it's why it's hilarious when people don't hear what they're saying instinctively, reactively. Long story short, though, I didn't want to make any deal about it. I didn't want to talk about it. So I just said, no, I'm good. As my friend asked me the first time, how you do? What's up? No, I'm good. Don't lie to me. And he's a friend. So I'm like, okay. And I explained. And that's that. But the point is, if a person that I really don't want to interact with would insist, that's when I'm going to say, I don't want to tell you. I'm choosing not to tell you. I don't want to talk about it. I refuse. I plead the fifth. This is the part of where if you are authentic, you're going to say, I don't give a shit. At a certain point, it will be, I don't give a shit. You can accept my answer or not, either or. I've decided and I'm committed to my decision. I respectfully understand you want to know. I'm telling you, no, I don't want you to know. And some would say, why wouldn't you lie? Why would I lie? Why don't you accept the no? So being able to accept each other for who we are is very straightforward and easy and done with equanimity when people are okay with being their self in their social engagement system, present. So I'm attuning to you. Resonating means that we're vibing together. Trusting means we're expanding consciousness. Having the functional adult tone, I just showed it to you. But I could get agitated and have a functional adult tone because why are you getting agitated? You know what? You're right. Let me calm down. I'm getting agitated because I told you no. I understand you want to know. I'm not going to. Okay, and this doesn't happen, by the way, because if you're a person who is a functional adult, the people that surround you are going to be people that will have learned exactly how you work. And in time, this is where they get those choice points like you do of how to handle situations. Because we talk authentically and directly, we talk with love, we talk with appreciation, we talk with I accept you, but then when we talk about what we want, we'll talk about it with firmness. And if we get agitated, that's because that's how meaningful it is. But it's also because we will not have had practice. When you have practice engaging with equanimity, with those connections, you have practice chit-chatting. Okay, so it's all really fun when you get to be the human person that you are. So when your humanness comes together with your spirituality-ness, I'm going to make up a word, and mysticism-ness for some of you, and enlightenment-ness with others. But the point is, actually, it's your 0-1-year-old that you get a hold of, and your 2 and your 3. And actually, here's where sensations, images, affects, meanings, behavior. So first, you get a clear view. What's myself? Am I a secure attachment self or not? That's very important. Next, do we also have any of that childhood trauma from abuse, emotional, mental, physical, or not, and or neglect? 3, do we have personality disorders that we want to? Dr. Daniel Fox is really great at giving how people can work with things. They're the same as what I learned from others, but it's geared towards those who will resonate because he knows how to describe exactly how those groups will feel, will think. And I see all of his community knowing, wow, thank you so much. You're giving me a human name. You're letting me know I'm a human, not a demon. Versus the ones who say immune to narcissists. Here's the interview. Those people, they have mantles on. So those people perpetuate lies like the yoga with demons. It's a lie for ignorant human beings who don't get educated by sciences. When I was in high school, I learned about biology. And I learned that in the US of A, we have a museum. It's a museum that decided to delete Darwinism and to teach children about the whatever the word is for no Darwinism. And I'm like, okay, I grew up with God and Jesus. And I told God all that I thought about knowledge. And this is where I even think about that created story. So are you saying you want us to be in the dark ages of the middle time? Because that's what it sounds like. To cancel sciences, in my personal opinion, means that you're that level of ignorance, because the believing in something is one thing, not teaching educational material and sciences because you don't like it, because you have this is where it begins to get gray, right? So we have institutions, which is why we don't talk about organizing that. We go and vote, we go and do other. But right now, what we're talking about is people who are emotionally and mentally grown-ups can accept, you know what I can accept? I, as an authentic self, if you have trauma, that's a bitch right there. You know that? You know what? She's a mystic. She's evil. Oh, you know what? She's a Reiki practitioner. Somebody told me that they're all evil too. So when people like to wear mantles around, that's what they do. People like me, we won't flinch at an entire society of ignorant human beings who are spreading rumors, because you're ignorant if you will disregard sciences. It's not about the belief. You're telling me you don't appreciate knowledge. And that's because you feel it's a threat. Now, what I do understand is called cognitive dissonance. To the extent I will use my grandmother as an example. She's no longer with us, but I will use her because we were talking about sensations, images, affects, meanings, behaviors. So I'm going to use two stories, one me and one my grandma. That way we can have something that's a little bit more, I would say, balanced, because people with disorders, they can heal, but they have I believe in the emotions and thoughts as true. It's irrefutable facts. So it's only once they get enough of, oh, wait, this is, okay, now I'm making more sense. So once they learn about split thinking, black and white thinking, and how it works from people like Dr. Daniel Fox, you'll understand why they feel that it's an irrefutable fact. It's not just a feeling. Their brain will, so I understand it. I'm sharing that with you. Okay, I don't live that. I'm completely self-aware of my emotions, of my thoughts, everything that's going on in my body. That's why I'm a hypochondriac, according to those who tell me that I'm that. I'm not that. I just know I can feel everything. So, it's all uncertain. The body's uncertainty. My brain wants to know because, yes, that's my left mode. I want to understand, Maria, what's going on. And I have a buttload of information for you on that stuff. Mystic and attachment trauma. But let me use my grandma. So my grandma, there's this thing that took place. It was a while back, where one of my family members had this skin disease. It was some small skin disease for today. But she reacted and she had this pure fear, this pure look of fear. I could tell she was offline. She was structurally I can use cognitive dissonance and maybe structural dissociation. I'm not sure. But what I can tell you is she began to just say, oh my God, and to cry. And she was really upset. And everybody was talking to her and all around her, which I learned from all my attachment courses, but nobody takes any of these courses, nor do they hear you when you try to share with them why you want to, not look people in the eye, why you want to try and ask. I've learned to become more aware of people's body language in an effort to ensure that I do not trigger anyone and that maybe I can be more of help, which is why, FYI, reflective practices and any of those holistic people who don't have therapists who are working with them, who have no attachment trauma information, yes, please be aware of how important it is for you, any one of you who's viewing. If you get uncomfortable in here, disengage from whatever activity, and wherever it is that it is your safer space, resource, people that can come to mind, but remove yourself from that equation if you can. I know that with my panic attacks, that's why I started to tell people. That way they would know if I get up and leave, I'm leaving. I want you to know. I'm telling you not to tell me what to do. I'm telling you so that if you see me get up and go, you can understand. You don't have to follow me, but you can understand I'm leaving for a reason and I'm going to go and get myself and get back into my body and all that stuff, okay? Although I've never been out of my body, but I'm saying to, wait it through those 15, 20 minutes, to leave it alone. And yeah, that's worked. Although luckily for me, I have a great way of planning my surroundings so that I don't have to be in those situations. But when it has happened a few times, I've been able to manage, and now it's become completely manageable. So my grandma, I am in the background and I'm trying to let people know she's not, just leave it alone. She's upset. She's going to get over it. She's just right now upset. but she started to speak about what they would do to people that had that disease. Now, it doesn't mean that's true, but it doesn't matter. That's a person who's now offline. They are not with us. And this is where, in that moment, you can keep talking your mouth, whatever you're doing, it's not entering. And that's what can happen for some people. So, like Patrick Tian says, there's no excuse for the hurt people hurt people. There's also, let's not use those fucking sentences. I've heard sentences like, well, they learned how to play the game because, no, nobody plays a game. You learn how to be a decent human being and to talk to people. You learn how to do emotional chit chat. It's not challenging if you want to be a healthy self-worth woman, man, or they. It's called I Can Be Me Too, because now there's the attachment trauma information that helps me to explain what I meant always with being yourself is, I'm a 0-1-year-old, aren't you? And I didn't know until I now do know. Okay, so those first 3 years of life are important. So here, for me, when sensations come up and my nervous system, images can come up, and other times I know what I'm being reminded of because of knowing my past. And other times I know that I'm processing an event that has taken place and that I'm consistently processing it until it comes full circle, because that neutrality that word that I use, neutrality and duality, is one thing for the advanced place of the inner growth program. Once we have the master class, because I'm now more knowledgeable, I can talk about charges and uncharging. So being neutral means you establish a secure attachment with the self of you and other. Then it means that I can be present, attuning, and resonating while working with my inner world, introspection, knowing that I'm calibrating to another, and knowing what is mine, differentiating, as Daniel Siegel points out, and then knowing, though, that I'm linking to another. So there's a me and a we. So as long as I'm engaging with you, I'm going to keep picking up on whatever you're vibing. But in some point or another, I can differentiate enough to where I'm in my ventral vagal, my social engagement system, because I've been able to bring myself to recalibrate to my state of being. I'm comfortable to be Maria, and I'm now allowing you, though, to be with me. And I picked up on whatever there was to pick up on, but I've assessed, and we're resonating and trusting, and so we're talking. So I'm not a mirror of you per se, but in that circumstance, I get to marry laughter and handsome, right? So I get to bring together this harmony, this tango, if you will, of an invasion of a reflection of trust, which is my mammalian heritage picks up on your mammalian heritage and vice versa. And that's why bringing forth that humanness, spirituality, mysticism, for those of you who are mystics, but we can also just say somatic empath, functional adult, because this relational field works for those who are not mystics per se, although they are, as Daniel Siegel presents. And I'm going to close us out with this one because he's awesome. He was invited to the spirituality conference, and he's like, I asked him why, because I'm science's man. And they said, no, Daniel, it's that spirituality people, we live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. And since you talk and teach about the interpersonal biology, this is what I'm making up, but it's because of what he teaches. He talks to us about and teaches us the brain, the mind, and relationships. And he gets chased down hallways by other sciences people who tell him to not do what he does. And instead, thanks to him, we know that integration made visible, its kindness and compassion in studies are showing integration in your body means your inner and outer well-being. So is restorative embodiment. And so we can be all here. The dysregulated and modulated embodied people could use us if they want to get here. If they don't, they won't get here. We leave that alone. If they don't make sense of the sensations and the images and the apps, if there's no narrative integration, they're going to do, no, Maria, I'm protecting myself from an energy vampire. No, Maria, I'm protecting myself from somebody who cursed me. No, Maria, you know what? World's shitty. No, Maria, this is me making a tone. What am I looking for again? Shit, I lost my train of thought. But confusion. I'm not confused. I was looking for something. It was a quote. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for spirituality as a way of living with meaning and connection beyond the solo self, but I was also looking for something else, and that would be about either integration made visible or, I'm sorry, my lovely listeners and viewers, I lost it. So since I lost it and I was planning on ending our lovely episode, I'm going to leave it alone. This is what happens. This is what happens when I have different types of thoughts going on to support you. But the authentic self, it's beautiful to be here. Come join us. And that way we can have more people learning how to be their regulated nervous systems and integration. Now I remembered mystics. Here it is. See, I look, I know how to use my time effectively. You stuck it through. Good, good. So 97% of what is going on is unavailable for us to observe because it's dark matter, dark energy. This is Daniel Siegel as he shares this, right? And so he says, when he asked about mysticism from this person, John O'Donoghue, who was a trained Catholic priest in Ireland, and he got really into all this Irish mysticism and stuff like that, he says, a mystic, Daniel, is a person who believes in the reality of the invisible. And so Daniel goes on to say, well, you know what? Then I'm going to say perhaps a true scientist is also mystic, because to pretend that you can actually perceive everything, see everything, and that you know everything that exists, that would be not a scientific statement. It would be very unscientific. If we are going to be truthful and open and scientific, then we're going to know that we don't know a lot of the reality that is out there because it's invisible. And here's where people who don't like to hear this, they're all playing with words. Okay, so let me break it down to you. Either you do know sciences and spirituality come together, and that's sciences, so physics, quantum physics. Yes, it's in a, some will say it's not all with answers. I forget how those who want to be logical present there's holes. One person, they don't know how the Big Bang started, okay, just for a random example. And I'm not going to say that there's a black and white line, because I'm a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, and stable brain. And to me, whether you want to talk about it as a mystic or scientific or not, makes no fucking difference. I know you don't know everything, nor do I. I mean, it's as straightforward as it gets, which is why it's like, okay, seriously, well, we could just keep going and going for all I know. But what I did learn in basic high school and basic college is basic, again, history, biology, and those basics show me there's a star. Now, if you want to go off and tell me the Matrix, you want to go off and tell me it's a fake planet, I'm going to say, okay, I'm not a flat earther. That's why I'm a woo-woo lady. And that's the part you get to choose. I know where facts are found, and some people have gone out of their way to let me know that colors are a code. So I'm going to go out of my way and let you know if everything's a code and then everything's a sound, we can keep philosophizing, which is one of the reasons why I don't engage in any conversation in a way of, oh my God, they just told me the most amazing thing ever. I started to realize, wow, yeah, that's interesting. Sure, that's interesting. Sure, whatever. I care about air, water, and food, because of that I know for fact my body needs. Don't come near me if you're going to plug my nose. I ain't going to play. This is where I was a teenager. People didn't believe me. I never went into water. Oh, stop being so serious. I don't give a shit. You didn't listen to me. And I'm not doing it. And they could try, but they were never, ever successful. And to this day, Maria knows how to keep Maria safe, because that's the one thing. If you have a brain that's your friend, yes, it's cool. We're not perfect. Oh, no, but don't you dare touch me. And if I see that you do disregard me, once I've learned that you don't have my best interest at heart, oh, I trust you. I trust you very much. I know exactly what Cuscos do. They're a pattern of themselves. It's actually quite interesting. Here's what a pattern is. It's a sad story is what a pattern is. Because they are not hurting a person who can see through Cusco. It's sad to see a person who doesn't realize that there's therapists out there and personal development coaches and all of that, and they could get out of misery. But they will have a way to make their codependent life and relationships make sense to them. And that's what I also see. So this is the part. Being the authentic self, come on over. We get to be human beings with our embodied brains, and we get to do sciences and have fun at the same time. Nobody has all the truths, but some of us really care about getting that inner and outer well-being going on. So again, nobody's perfect. Enlightenment, it's fun. There ain't no fucking laundry here, but you need to want to do the emotional stuff. If you don't, well, then that's a different story. So we'll be back again with more. Again, Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you do want one-on-one, there's a landing page on inspiringhumanpotential.com. We'll have a masterclass at some point. There's universal love transmission sessions. That's personal development stuff with Reiki. And there's a playlist on YouTube. But there's also, you can make requests if you want that. And the same for free main modules on inner growth mindset, inspiringhumanpotential.com. So you can go visit the website, and my email should be pretty much anywhere. So you can reach out. The Ask Maria opinionated columnist episodes, those are for audio alone for now. Once we get to 1K on YouTube, we'll have one of those as our first membership option. And then for my 5D mystics, let yourselves be known. If you need anything for your Kundalini awakening, spirituality awakening, all of that twin flame stuff, you're not going to be in a saga drama if you're 5D. You're going to be, I know exactly what this lady's talking about. I want on board, because the minute I saw what they did with twin flames, I just laughed in my head. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. There's needing to balance. Yeah. And then I thought the 4D would leave. And I was like, whoa, they're not leaving. Oh, shit. It's true. It's true. We don't overestimate the usage of your brain. I'm not going to say it. I'm stupid. Again, I'm not going to call anybody dumb because I'm the dumbest person on the block. Ask me about countries. Ask me about rivers. Ask me where north is. No, I know where north. Yeah, see, ask me about how to find myself in the lost woods. So you get the drift. Anyways, thank you for stopping by. We'll be back with more. Have a great one.